Wish them well.
All right, members of the House starting to throw their hats into the ring to replace John Boehner as the next Speaker of the House. Our next guest hopes he gets the job. In fact, right now there are only two people who have thrown their hats in the ring for the Speaker's job. One of them is Florida Republican Congressman Daniel Webster. He joins us right now. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. The other person to throw his hat into the ring is the House Majority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, seen by many, seen by most, to be the front runner by far. Why you and not Kevin McCarthy?
Well, I'm running for one reason. I want to see a Congress that is based on principle, and every member is made a player. So we have a member-driven, principle-based Congress. I did that in Florida. As Speaker of the House there, I know it can happen. It's totally different in that you take that pyramid of power where at the top most of the decisions are made by just a few people. You push it down and spread it out so every member has that opportunity to be successful. It is a great way. It's a freeing way. So amendments that aren't heard and are killed by the process would go away, and that everyone would have an opportunity for amendments, for bills and other things, participation in the process. It is a great way to run a House, and in the end, in Florida, when we did that, the numbers turned right side up.
The man who's had the job for the last 5 years, Speaker John Boehner, says part of the problem is there are people inside your caucus with unrealistic expectations. He calls them false prophets. Listen to what he says right here.
There are people out there, spreading noise about how much can get done. I mean, this whole idea that we're going to shut down the government to get rid of Obamacare in 2013, this plan never had a chance. But over the course of the August recess in 2013 and the course of September, a lot of my Republican colleagues who knew it was a fool's errand, really, they were getting all this pressure from home to do this.
So was it a mistake to shut down government to try to defund Obamacare?
Well, I think the point is, if you change the process, one of the keys is taking up the most important issues first, not last. When you push against a deadline, you're basically giving the members really just one choice. If you start early, then you have the opportunity to work with the Senate, work out the differences, and come up with something that actually runs through what we call regular order, in that if we have differences, we work them out in conference long before the date that the deadline comes. Same with reauthorizations. We get right to 3 or 4 days before it, and then the only option is passing a continuing resolution. That's wrong. We need to take up those issues first, not last.
The Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, when he came into power to the Majority Leader seat, he essentially said, no more shutdowns. Will you vow, as part of your campaign to be Speaker, that there will be no government shutdowns on your watch?
Well, sometimes, we may pass something and the president himself vetoes it. At least I know when Ronald Reagan was president, that was called a shutdown by the president. So if we do our responsible job, we get our appropriation bills out early, if we send them to the president, then we have plenty of time to deal with that without having to shut down government.
Well, for instance, right now, he will veto any measure that defunds Planned Parenthood. So would you be willing to shut down the government, or your half of a shutdown, as it were, if the president vetoes such an action?
Well, I don't think that's the point I'm trying to make. What I'm trying to make is a point that we need to get away from these deadlines where we push ourselves into a corner. It's just not the way to run a House. And to me, I think we can do that. If we take up the most important issues first, then we'll avoid those kind of catastrophes.
What do you say to those 40 or so members in your caucus who want to see stronger language from the Speaker, want to see Republicans in Congress taking on the White House even more? Do you want those voices louder, or would you warn them to calm down a little bit?
I believe that if you let everybody have a say early on, up front, everybody, not just them, but anybody else, and you work through a process where the committees actually hear the bills, they come to the floor, and you vote on them, and again, you take them up first, then we have plenty of time for opportunities. I believe that most of the people just want a chance to vote on their amendment or vote on a bill or vote on a proposal. If they lose, they lose. That's not the Speaker's or anybody else's problem, but it is his problem or her problem if those ideas are killed only because they weren't allowed to happen. We go in every day and we pass a rule that circumvents the rules we have. every single day. And it cuts out amendments, it shuts off debate, it takes the system and in a sense, defrauds the membership and the public.
How many votes do you have lined up right now?
Well, I'm working on that. I work every day. We'll see. I can tell you that sometimes there are votes, and you got to wait till the vote takes place before you really know.
All right, Daniel Webster of Florida, good luck. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be on.